Yo, what's good? Big Z here, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make this. So this is the new Louis the Child song that just came out. It's also the theme song for the X Games this year, I guess, which is cool because I always like watching the X Games. But this track really reminded me of why I like Louis the Child so much. Everyone seems to be making like kind of similar music these days, and there's only really a few artists that are this unique and really just have their own unique genre to themselves. Like no one else really has this exact style. Like they've really paved the way for this style. And I really respect them for that because it's really dope. By the way, I'm going to be making a video giving you guys feedback on your demos. So send your tracks to this email below. Just do one demo per person, send your best track, and hopefully I'll get to your track in the video and just give some feedback on it. And I'll be just reviewing all your guys' tracks soon. As always, the free presets are linked below if you want them. And if you want the whole project file to dive deeper, that's below as well that you can purchase on my website. Enough talking, let's get into it. So let's start with this cool bass sound. It's my favorite part of the song. So there's 3 bass layers, and here's what they all sound like. Everything musically about this song is pretty simple, but production-wise, it just sounds so nice. So this bass is 3 different layers. We just have a basic sub layer that you won't really be able to hear if you're on a phone or a laptop, but it's just a triangle wave. And in the effects section, I just have multiband compressor, tube distortion, and this low pass filter. So that's pretty basic sub right there. Then the next sound we have is this low, wide saw bass sound. And that's where a lot of the character of that bass sound is coming from. So this is a pretty simple sound. It is 2 saw waves. One's 2 octaves down, one's 1 octave down. They both have 16 voices of unison and a good amount of detune on both of them. Then we have envelope 1 down here. That's just shaping the amplitude of the sound. Then another important part of the sound is this bright white noise. Just makes it sound really crisp. Then to make it a little more analog sounding, I have this LFO1 here that the BPM function is turned off, and it's just mapped to the fine tune up here of both these oscillators. So it's just kind of shifting the fine tune of both the oscillators a little bit just to make it a little more analog sounding and not so perfect in pitch. So then the effects section, we just have some dimension expander, some compression, and some distortion. So without that, it sounds like this. Then with the effects, adding some distortion to a sound that has some bright white noise on top of it sounds really good and really crunchy sounding. So without this distortion, it just loses all that character. Other than that, I just have mono checked because it's a bass, and then I have this EQ on here. It's kind of a crazy looking EQ, but it's just got the tone I wanted out of the sound. Just sounds a little bit more professional after that EQ. And then I'm sending it to a reverb. It's a really short reverb, just like 0.7 seconds. And then after the reverb, I have this EQ that's cutting off all the high end. Like if I had the high end in on the reverb, it wouldn't sound nearly as clean. It just really puts it in a small little space. So then the last bass layer is just the same exact patch as this one in Serum. The only difference is it's an octave above those 2 oscillators that I just showed you. And also it's not as detuned, and the bright white noise is turned off. But everything else is the exact same here. I just have a separate EQ for this one as opposed to the other bass. but when you put all 3 bass layers together, it sounds pretty cool. Then I'm sending all of these basses to the same bus, where I'm just using a compressor to sidechain them to the kick, and it's really being heavily sidechained to the kick. That's what gives this song a lot of its bounce. So I have the threshold way down here, and you'll see the signal drop like 20 dBs every time the kick hits. If you don't have that heavy sidechain, you just don't get that bounce to it. Alright, cool. And then there's just the lead sound. So the lead sound is super simple, as you can probably hear. It's just a basic MG wave with the wavetable position around like 118. And then it's just this envelope right here controlling the amplitude with only like 80 milliseconds of decay. And then in the effects section, to widen it up, we have some dimension expander, some compression, and a little bit of tube distortion. And then I just made it mono because it's a lead. I have this EQ on here, just rolling off some highs and cutting off some lows. And then I'm sending it to a reverb that is a pretty short reverb, 1 second, and the reverb's not very high in the mix. And then I'm also doing the sidechain compression to the kick on this lead as well. It's the same amount as the basses, so everything can kind of gel together with the sidechain compression. The drum sounds in the song are pretty sick. I'll show you them right now. So if you want all these drum sounds and you want to dive deeper into how I EQ'd them and pitched them and everything, then you can get the project file. But you'll notice on a lot of these samples that I pitched them to fit the song more. Like this kick is pitched down 6 semitones. I have the snare that I pitched to match the key of the song. Even like the tambourines, I messed with the pitch just to get that feeling right with them. Because messing with the pitch of these drum samples actually changes their character a lot. Like take this tambourine for example. If I change the pitch of it, it can really change the feeling of that sample. So to get the vibe right for this song, I just messed around with a lot of the pitches of the drum sample, which is a kind of cool thing to do. Anyway, that's it for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Spotify below. And don't forget to submit your demos to that email address I showed you before, so I can review them in one of my videos. And anyway, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.